Okay, it's Friday, August 19th, midday here, and I'm going to kind of do my SPY recap and analysis here midday. I'm done for trading for the day. I had a few good short trades today on Tesla and Netflix, and they were profitable in the morning, and they kind of had their pushes down, and I'm not surprised to see the market bouncing here. I'll get into that in a second. I just want to kind of go over kind of what's developed, what happened this week, what's developing into next week, what to kind of look for, or, not necessarily predict, but just kind of what maybe to anticipate could happen, kind of then if this happens, then that kind of analysis, and we'll just see what happens. But what happened this week in the SPY, and it's really not surprising to me at all, is, we had a bit of here are the 5 days of the week. We had kind of a up day to start, a pause day on Tuesday, and then we've kind of drifted lower here for the next 3 days. I actually shot a video here. You can go look back on it. Right here, I drew a circle as I was filming the video, highlighting a little bit of caution on the SPY, that we might be at exhaustion risk. Within one bar, I got a big red bar, and then you can see we've kind of drifted lower ever since. So, it wasn't tricky. It wasn't that tricky to know that at some point we're getting close here to being overextended. If you look at the weekly chart, we were heading up for like a whole bunch of green weeks here, and then the monthly chart had reached its target. So that's kind of a clear, when you reach these targets in the bigger picture, then to really be careful, continuing higher before some type of pullback. So it doesn't mean the market's collapsing or anything. As I've said in prior videos, I really want to see how this August bar closes. We still have a while to go before that happens to really judge if we're going to continue higher here, or maybe at this point really fail and start a down month into September, October, and everything down back to the lows, or somewhere back into this range. But that's going to be a while to figure out, so I'm waiting for that. In the meantime, we have a shooter bar developing here on the weekly chart. So if we close red today, we still have a couple hours to go. Let's anticipate starting at least to try to take out those lows. We'll be closer to the bottom of that bar. Then what's interesting, and this is what I'm kind of getting at looking forward to next week, is if we do have this shooter bar and we head a little lower, which you would anticipate to start, the question is, do we reach this target, the first target? And if we do, that's what we're going to play. But I could see, given the monthly continuity still to the upside, we're nowhere near the open of that month, turning it red, that I could see that we could come a shooter bar here, because it's just a big pause area at the moment. It's not really a major reversal. We can come down maybe for a day or two and then not reach this target and then turn up, and that would actually get me more excited to go back to the long side. So, we'll keep an eye on the midpoint of this bar that forms, because that'll be the sign. If we hold below that, then we're continuing lower into next week. But if we could just fail a little bit early, we could have a turn back up. And again, I can't predict it. If we close in this red condition, I will expect a little follow through lower, but I really want to see if day to day we kind of reach our target or not, because that would be a sign that we could be just pausing in here and continuing higher. So I'll watch for that. In terms of today and in terms of the 5 days of the week, let's just look at, just to recap what happened this week. All this week really was, I drew a little rectangle here. It was just if we look at Monday, we had this big green bar, and all we did for the rest of the week is we kind of broadened out a little bit. I drew this, megaphone kind of pattern. We just took out the highs of that bar. On Tuesday, we kind of then just paused a little bit the next 2 days, and we took out the low of the bar today. So all we really did on this week is just kind of broaden out on one bar here, kind of a compound broadening action where you take all these 4 bars with just an outside bar of that one bar. And that's all it is at the moment. And it's not surprising to me, like I think I mentioned earlier, that we kind of paused here. We had 2 pushes down. I've shot some videos on the way I like to view price structure: one primary push and then see if we get a secondary push, and then we kind of rallying up here. So if you look at kind of where we 1 push, 2 pushes down, that kind of took us right to the midpoint of the prior week. So we haven't even really, there was 1 day left to go in this week. Normally a failed outside bar, or failed 2 up, let's say, to form an outside bar lower, you'd have to kind of fail the up, taking out the highs, move to the midpoint of the prior week, and then you anticipate taking out the lows. But we only had today's Friday. We don't have enough time to get there. So that's why, in terms of just where today's action went, it just kind of took 2 pushes down. And that's what, you normally get. And it went right to a point where we couldn't even take out this next target. On this inside day, when we gapped down, we definitely took out that first target. But if you notice, we haven't reached this target here, which is kind of the midpoint of last week. And that's because, we're really just just broadening out, from this first bar. We're not necessarily getting ready to, have a failed 2 down week. But anyway, if we close red like this, I will anticipate a little bit lower to start. You just have to do that, just given the, the reversal look of that bar. So in terms of the week, let's just see, as I think I discussed last week, I was looking for a little higher to take out that monthly target. That's what I was looking at last week to kind of move up there. We did that on Tuesday, and then we've reversed ever since. And on the 5 days of the week, if we just kind of quickly review those, that was the 15th. Yeah, so the first day, was that upward action here. The first bar was just kind of pause, then we started up, so that's a good buy. We actually were still looking for that target to be reached. Somewhere up here was the monthly target that I was talking about. So we had kind of a down opening, and I remember I shot a video about this kind of action. But anyway, we took out the intraday high. We only came to the midpoint of the prior day, then took out the, the first bar high. That led to a nice long trade, 2 pushes up on this day. I put a video out, caution here, we could be getting a pullback, and boom, look what happened. So on this day, this was a tricky day, I think, Wednesday. We kind of paused, but since we had the pullback in play, there was a little short trade here in the morning. We got our 2 little pushes down, and because that uptrend's still kind of intact, there was a little volatility. I think the Fed came out and announced something here too, which kind of threw things off. Anyway, this day I actually bought puts here because I still, was thinking, we were pulling back. We had opportunities to pull back from that high, and I bought puts on this day, on Wednesday, and then I kind of closed them out here when the open couldn't follow through to the lows. I shot a video on that, and we just kind of went sideways inside all day. Today was the gap down. You can see here overnight action started lower, and we immediately started lower on this bar. So there was all kinds of trades, a lot of stocks. You could have got 2 pushes down and had very good, done very well trading today. But anyway, so we end the day. It's going to be a red day here, 2 down, but look, we're getting a little buying tail here, which is not surprising to me. Like I discussed, we'll see the shooter bar. If it really closes weak, then we'll look for a little push down, and then really really monitor day to day if we take out this low or not. But given the fact the month is still up, you got to be cautious about how much of a pullback you get. And the thing is, since it's not you could go short given this bar, but be more excited. This is what I'm kind of anticipating way out here a few days from now. If we go down here, can't reach that target, the turning up will be a great, there'll be some good trades here maybe to the end of August to head higher. So we'll see if that develops. But a lot, you just got to follow price action. So that's my recap on the SPY. We'll see how today closes. Like I said, I kind of anticipate 2 pushes down. That's all you're going to get. We'll kind of end up sideways. We'll see how this bar closes today. It was just kind of a pause area really this week. And, next week, let's just anticipate starting maybe a little lower if we have this kind of bar, forming like this. But the main thing, again, in the bigger picture is how is August going to close? Are we going to kind of maybe have a little pause and then go up for the rest of the month? If we do, we can close strongly green and then look for continuation higher. Or are we going to really fail? And we'll see if next week might be the failure week to start taking out this target and that target. Let's say a big collapse happens for some reason. Then this whole month might be, failing after taking out its target. And we might be heading down into, September, October and everything. So we still have a few days and a few weeks to go to kind of close this bar. But that's still what I'm really monitoring for. In the meantime, good short-term opportunities in both directions. And, that kind of highlights what's going on with the SPY for this week, and we'll tune in Monday and see where it opens.